Hey YouTube, what's up? It's JT Sasuke. I'm here to bring you a review for Bleach. So, I didn't do last week's chapter, so I'm going to do last week's chapter and this week's chapter. So, starting with last week's chapter, um, so we have Byakuya, we have Hitsugaya, and we have Kenpachi. The three of them are battling the Stern Ritter. I don't know the Stern Ritter's name, but he's the giant guy. You guys know what I'm talking about. They're battling him, and he has the power to make anything that he can imagine come into fruition, virtually making him impossible to beat. You have Kenpachi, who's just constantly striking towards him and then constantly getting repelled back to the point where the guy even actually cracks Kenpachi's Shikai and comments on how weak his sword is if it can be cracked by a simple attack such as that. Um, in the meantime, what ends up happening is Toshiro as well as Byakuya agree that um, they're going to keep letting Kenpachi attack so that way they can then find an opening in the Stern Ritter and attack when he has an opening. And that's exactly what happens. Of course, Kenpachi hears him, tells them to stay out of it and that this fight is his. And then he goes on to attack them. He goes on to attack the Stern Ritter, not them. And once he gets repelled back again, the two of them attack from his blind side, but he already knows it was going to happen, so he's able to deflect. And then just when the situation starts to seem kind of bad, you have Yachiru, who comes out of nowhere, and she's just like, all right, well, it's time to release some of your power, and she says Bankai, and he turns into this beast, which I'm assuming is probably going to be red-skinned. He looks like a savage. He looks like a demon from hell, and he ends up just going complete and totally psycho, and he cuts the dude in half. He cuts him in half, and then moving into this week's chapter, he ends up coming back, like he ends up piecing himself back together, but Kenpachi just basically goes at him again and cuts him again, and the guy is sitting there and he's just like, okay, well that's pretty fucking interesting, but not gonna be enough to defeat me. And he ends up like knocking Kenpachi back. In the meantime, we go over to Byakuya and Hitsugaya, and we got with Toshiro Hitsugaya as him Bankai. He has the three ice petals on the back of him, and the last one is about to evaporate. And Toshiro is just like, okay, well my Bankai is about to hit its limit. I kind of need to, we kind of need to finish this soon. And Hitsugaya and Byakuya just like, maybe you should take a break. Don't you die after all those petals evaporate? And he was just like, I never said that. I never said that. Once they evaporate, they basically finish. That means my Bankai is finished maturing, and then he turns into an adult. That's around about what happened in the latest chapter. So, with that being said, the last week's chapter was decent. This week's chapter was alright and kind of but together they make a pretty good body of work. Which is why I like reviewing two Bleach chapters at a time, because not much happens in a Bleach chapter. With that being said, I have a couple complaints. My first complaint is the fact that I thought Toshiro's Bankai, the way it worked is that once those ice petals, all three of them, once they evaporate, that he does die. There's no way that me and other people in the fandom have made that assumption on our own. I'm pretty sure we were told that. So either I'm mistaken and a couple of other people are mistaken, or the creator is literally rewriting continuity to fit his needs. And either way, you know what I'm saying, it's still kind of weird. If he is rewriting continuity to fit his needs, that's bullshit. I think it's weird how his Bankai just happened to mature and turn him into an adult. And does anyone realize that he looks like either Ichigo or Greenjaw? A little more like Ichigo, but you know what I'm saying? I noticed that a lot of people in Bleach have the same facial structures. I just noticed that. But overall, it was pretty good. Kenpachi, in this chapter, Yachiru, in the late chapter this week, Yachiru did say that she maybe unleashed a little too much of his power, and that this level was too much for him, showing that he was kind of, getting hurt from all the power that his Bankai holds. That's interesting to see how Kenpachi is just not. You know, what I'm saying? Even Kenpachi is so powerful that he can't handle his own power. I think that's very ironic and also interesting. But with that being said, I hope that this fight concludes next week, so that way we can move on to something else. DJ Kubo have been very good at concluding these fights. Obviously, I hope he stops with the mode of, oh, I think we defeated the villain, and the villain comes back with one final attack as he's dying to take out somebody or to even the playing field. I hope he stops with that and have these villains legitimately be taken out. My second problem with this chapter was the fact that when Kenpachi split the guy open, there is a star in his head, and that had to be the object that was pulling his body back together. Why didn't anybody attack that? I would have looked at that and been like, that's an obvious weak point that we should probably exploit, like, right now. So that's another thing that I had a problem with it. But overall, the two Bleach chapters were pretty good when put together. I feel like Bleach should probably come out bi-weekly instead of weekly, so that way he can put two chapters together and more can happen. It's just my opinion, because singularly not much happens in the Bleach chapter, you know what I'm saying, versus like a One Piece chapter or an Naruto chapter where a lot of stuff can happen in one chapter. But with that being said, thank you all for watching. Comment down below and let me know what you guys thought, and subscribe to my channel for more content. Alright, peace.